are all the way back, baby.
Yeah, and if we say book your hotel, you book your hotel. But my lord, I have soiled myself.
You think I lied? Genuine lie? Hello, radio!
And now, another episode of The Way We HNC. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to The Way We HNC It, ahead of the BAFA National Flag Football League Super Weekend in the National. It's an unprecedented amount of football for a BAFA League. 6 games for the National Division teams over two days, the full weekend in Manchester. I'm very much looking forward to heading down and seeing everyone. It's just me today, so you're going to get a monologue. If you want to catch up a little bit on how things stand in Division 1 and the Premiership, you can go back to our episode from earlier this week where Cammy and Burke put together a little bit of a double act. But today, you're going to just be hanging out with me, your old pal Bez, as we talk through kind of where the National's at heading in, some things to maybe be aware of. And then, because I've had some questions on it this week, we'll do a little bit about how you get promoted into the Premiership and into the National later on in the show. So the regional part of the National Division is done. All of the northern teams have played each other twice. All of the southern teams have played each other twice. And things are really, really starting to take shape. The London Smoke are top of the table, both in the south and nationally, and undefeated 10-0, whereas the top of the National Division north, we have the Glasgow Hornets at 9-1. Also kind of separated from the pack are the Cardiff Hurricanes at 8-2. Their 2 losses have come from the London Smoke. And so far they have beaten everyone in the south. After that, the way the standings are at the moment, it gets very, very interesting. In 4th place with 6 wins are the Grangemouth Broncos. In 9th place with 4 wins are the Chichester Sharks, and everyone else is between them. We've got 4 teams on 4 wins. The Reading Devils at 5-5. So it really is all to play for heading into the National. Every position on the leaderboard is still up for grabs. No one has clinched anything yet. In theory, even the Smoke could fall all the way out if they were to go 0-6 on Super Weekend, although it would be very brave of you to put money on that particular outcome. I don't think that's going to happen, but the maths is the maths. It could happen, I guess. So they haven't earned their little golden football just yet. The London Fire, bottom of the table at 1-9, and the Cheltenham Neptunes at 2-8. They're looking up, but certainly have ample opportunity to get themselves out of that relegation zone. And it is automatic relegation zone in the National. So the 2 teams that are bottom on Sunday afternoon, when the games are all done, they will be automatically relegated back into the Premiership. And then we'll see how the Premiership goes next year through the playoffs to see who will be joining the National. So yeah, we're in a weird and interesting and quite fluid situation where we've got all those teams on 4 wins that are both looking up because they're only a couple back from the Broncos on their 6 wins, but they're also looking right behind them because they're only a couple of games ahead of the relegation zone. So what we'll do is we'll kind of go through how things are going to look over the course of the weekend, and we'll see where we get to. So on Saturday, we will be across 2 Super Weekend venues. One at Bellevue, it's the stadium in Manchester, flag in the stadium, yo. And that will have the Broncos, the Neptunes, the Devils, the Hornets, the Smoke, and the Titans will all be there. While on the other venue at Platt Lane, which everyone will know recently from finals, we're going to have the Outlaws, the Fire, the Sharks, the Crows, the Hurricanes, and the All-Cats. Sorry, my own team, the All-Cats. So yeah, look forward to that. If you are coming down as a spectator on either day, then you can either move between the venues, I guess, or you can pick a group that you're interested in seeing, and hang out there, basically for the day. So that's going to be cool. That's going to be interesting, and yeah, excited to see how we get on. So we're going to start at Bellevue, because that is the on the docket, at least has some of the larger games. It's also got 4 of the top 5 teams will be there in the Devils, the Broncos, the Smoke, and the Hornets. So the Broncos and the Hornets will get to play Reading, and the Smoke, including obviously the big game that has been a semi-final recently. It's been a final recently, the Hornets versus the London Smoke. And that will be officiated by our good friend of the show, Neil Henderson, will be the head ref for that match. So it's all going to be taken care of, and we'll be excited to see how that one turns out. It wouldn't surprise anyone, I don't think, if we see that match again later on in the season. But obviously, there's still a lot of football to be played before we get there. Also, one to watch out for is the Devils and the Broncos match. Obviously, that head-to-head could become very important, and the Devils are currently 1 game back on the Broncos for 4th place. So a win there not only brings them level, but also the tiebreaker for the Devils would see them finish above the Broncos should they end the season tied on record. The Manchester Titans as well, I think in this group, they are also someone to really, really keep an eye on. They had a good start to the season. They looked good, particularly in the day in Manchester where they had the Hornets and the Crows. They looked like a top four team, and they played well. And unfortunately for them, they struggled in Stirling, but back on, relatively speaking, home soil. Pretty much home soil at Bellevue. I do think they're a team to watch as they kind of push forward towards maybe claiming that 4th position and a trip to Coventry. So there's lots of good games there. Obviously, the Cheltenham Neptunes are in that group as well, so they'll be looking for any wins they can to try and improve and get out of the relegation zone. At the moment, they are the 11th ranked team. So at the moment, would be going down, but as we say, 36 matches over the 2 days. They've got plenty of time to get themselves out of that particular hole. And I think this day does feel like a bit of a setup day for a lot of teams, depending on how they maybe want to move forward. Going on for finals and the crunch games that will become more and more and more important as things shake out on Sunday. So over to Platt Lane. So all of these games are kicking off at exactly the same time. So throughout the day, the hopefully if the timings hold, everything will happen at the same time, which will be class. So we should be able to see, and we're hoping to be able to bring you via our stories, live standings after every round. So obviously we'll be able to post the scores, and we'll also be able to bring you live standings so you can see how things are shaping up as they go on. So we've had some discussions and some collaborative efforts around that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully both everyone kind of watching at home and looking for the scores, and also teams on the day working out what they need to do. We're going to do our best to make sure that everyone has the up-to-date information throughout the morning and throughout the afternoon on Saturday and the morning on Sunday. Platt Lane. As we said before, we've got Edinburgh Outlaws, the Fire, the Sharks, the Hurricanes, the Crows, and Aberdeen. Some really interesting matchups here. The Sharks, Edinburgh, Aberdeen, those three, they're all kind of in and around the relegation zone. They are kind of the three directly above, so they're all going to play each other. So every win in that little kind of trio will be important, and the Crows are the same. They're 4 and 6. They are top of that kind of mini table of 4 on tie breaks, but obviously a win here, a win there, could either take them out of that, or obviously a couple of losses could pull them right back in. So something just to be aware of there, with some really, really interesting games kind of going on, and and obviously as it's podcast bowl, I will get to play Matt Burke. So can I beat Matt Burke and Cammy's teams in the same season? I don't know, but I'll do my best. So I'm looking for particularly I think the Fire here, they're going by kind of their offense. They would be kind of, compared to the North teams, they would be kind of in that bunch that we've just talked about. You know, they're 217 points for, kind of go into 227 for the Crows, 227 for the Allcats, and 208 for the Edinburgh Outlaws. In terms of points for so far, like their offense is on a par with the teams that they're against. It's been their defense. They've shipped a lot of points, but at the same time, the top end of the Southern National, their points for are, you know, in some cases double, so almost the points for some of the Northern teams. So it's a bit of a different style, a bit of different, kind of the way that teams have been earning wins has been a little bit different in the North and the South. So we'll see. I think the London Fire might pick up some wins, and I think that, I don't know if they'll manage the Great Escape on the final day, but I certainly don't think they'll go down. I certainly don't think they'll 0-6 over the weekend. I think there's wins there to be had, and probably similar for the Cheltenham Neptunes. They are almost identical in terms of stats to teams like the Allcats and the Crows, with maybe just a few more points against. But as we mentioned before, like some of the big hitters at the top of the division for them that they've played twice are putting up a lot more points. So I think it's very interesting. I'm excited to see how both ends of the table, particularly on the Saturday, kind of work themselves out, and then we'll see kind of what the lie of the land is on Saturday night, heading into a 9:15 start on Sunday morning. So yes, Sunday morning, the vast majority of games we're going to have at least a kind of I don't know what we're calling them, professional head official. So yeah, shout out to the guys that are all giving up their weekends, and Jed and Neil and Ewan and Rick as well on the Saturday, like for coming down and making this a bit easier. It is a big event in the national, and while the teams will be providing crews, it is really nice to have some kind of more head official going on. Makes it nice to see the zebra stripes out there and be dazzled. So that's class. So yeah, some key matchups on the final day. Obviously, we don't know where the Kirkcaldy Cup will be. It's currently with Glasgow, but they, as we said before, they have that gauntlet to run. So excited to see kind of how it ends up, and we'll make sure we try and get a graphic posted for if the cup is on the move once again, and how it shakes out for the final day. Who will end the regular season? Will it be with a team in the final four, so we get a unification match? All still to be decided. So yes, we're going to be at the Armitage Sports Centre on Sunday for all of the final games. It's just around the corner from Platt Lane, so it's really, really not far if you are coming down to spectate. I'd love to see as many people as possible, but I also understand that getting to Manchester for one day can be a bit tricky for many people. But yeah, if you're around and if you're in the area, then it will be at the Armitage Sports Centre in Fallowfield. So some of the big games for that day, kind of, it's hard to work out as things stand, obviously, but we've got the Titans and the Hurricanes. That's near the end of the day. That could potentially be a win and in kind of scenario for either team to make it to the playoffs in Coventry. Some of the games, other interesting games in that kind of not quite in the playoffs as we are now, but fighting to get in the very last round of games of the entire season. There's a couple that I think are potentially really interesting. The Broncos and the Fire playing each other, so that could be one team playing to get in and one team playing to stay in the division and the playoffs, as it were. The Devils and the Crows, potentially there you've got two teams that are not far from the playoff spots as they stand, looking at both of them needing a win to maybe secure their spot. Edinburgh Outlaws and Cheltenham Neptunes, that could be a winner stays up game. That's the very last game on the first pitch. So looking forward to that one. But before all that, throughout the day, the Oil Cats have a similar kind of run. They're going to play the Cheltenham Neptunes. That I'm sure will be a big game for both sides. That win, whoever gets it, could keep one team up. And yeah, there's a few other ones. I think I had one earlier on. Yeah, Titans. It's hard to tell at the moment. Titans Sharks, again, they're still in that kind of 4-win. They're in that 4-win grouping. This is also the day where obviously it's flipped. So the Oil Cats and the Outlaws and the Crows play the Devils, the Smoke and the Tunes. So, and obviously vice versa for the other group. So there's a few. There are a few in here. The Smoke. The Smoke's day starts with Edinburgh, then goes via Manchester, Crows, I think, and then finishes off with the All Cats, and they'll be done. And yeah, so there's a whole lot to play for, and the second day gets very, very interesting and kind of hard to muddle out as we sit here right now. In terms of predictions, I think that the Smoke and the Hornets are probably going to be home and dry. The Grangemouth Broncos with their 6th win, the Reading Devils with their 5th win. Obviously, they've got the leg up on the 4th seed. I think the Devils will feel like they've got a job to do. It's been a kind of an up and down season for them, but I think they'll be looking at making sure that they are that 4th seed and they get their trip to Coventry in the fight for another national medal for them, and potentially looking to make their first final. So yeah, it's a whole lot to play for. There's an awful lot going on. And just remember that it is the top 4 teams qualify. The number 1 team in the North will play the number 1 team, and the North and South are automatically the 1 and the 2 seed. The 3 and the 4 seed can come from anywhere, so it doesn't really matter at that point. So yeah, even if, for example, the North team comes 4th, they'll still actually be the number 2 seed because of the regional system. So just be aware of that. But as it stands right now, the number 1 in the North and the number 1 in the South are the top 2 teams regardless. So at the moment, that doesn't make any difference. It's also at the bottom of the national. The bottom 2 teams are relegated regardless of region. So they can both be North teams, they can both be South teams. Doesn't matter. And then the Prem will adjust to that next year, basically, in terms of divisions and regionality. And then Division 1 will adjust to whatever happens down there. So yes, let's talk about promotion and relegation further down the pyramid, shall we? So I'd had a few questions on this week. I understand why. It's almost the very end of the season, and now it's pretty real for everyone trying to work out maybe what could happen and where they might go. So if we start with the Premiership, in terms of promotion to the National, that comes out of the 2 teams that make the National Championship game, the final Premiership game in Coventry. So the semi-finals in Coventry are promotion play-ins, basically. The final 2 will both be promoted to the National, and then they'll play each other for the the Premiership Championship, which is cool. To get there, it will be the top 2 teams from each of the regional semi-finals in Chiswick and in Carlisle. So the 8 teams will go to there. 2 of them will come out and make the final in Coventry. In Division 1, it's a little bit trickier just because there's more teams and there's more moving around. So from the Premiership, the bottom 3 teams, they've been highlighted in grey on our graphics. They're automatically relegated. There's no playoff or anything like that. They just go straight down by region. So the bottom 3 in the North and the bottom 3 in the South will automatically drop. That's why those divisions are the same size, the same number of clubs in them, even though there's a funny line through the middle of the Midlands division and the North Sea division in D1. So the Premierships are the same size and the D1 North and South are the same size. So for that reason, basically 3 will come down per region and 3 will go up per region. In Division 1, if you want to be promoted, you need to be in the top 8 in your region so that you can go to your regional semi-finals. They are in Chiswick and Carlisle alongside the Prem days. If you make the final 2 of the regional semi-finals, you will go to Coventry and you will have automatic promotion. The 3rd, 4th playoff placement game, is also a promotion game. That's where the 3rd team from the region will come from. So you'll come 3rd in your region. You'll gain promotion to the Premiership, but you don't go to Coventry for the championship weekend. And then in Coventry on championship weekend, there will be the final 4 in each division will play each other throughout the course of the day at the Coventry Stadium, and it'll be a big weekend. And the Sunday in the same stadium will have the Youth Flag Football League finals with all the age groups and how all that works out, culminating in having our champions from across the country and across all the different divisions. So that's going to be really cool. Really, really looking forward to that. And yeah, we'll see how it all shakes up after this weekend. Obviously, Cammy and Burke and I are all playing at Super Weekend, and then we need to get home from Manchester. So bear with us on scores and standings. We'll be collecting them all in as normal. It might take just a little bit longer to get them out. And obviously, I will do a quick verification alongside BAFA, just so I don't get anything wrong. The organising committee have been great this year in just giving me a quick check if I'm confused with anything. So looking forward to that. And yeah, don't worry. When we say book your hotels, you can book your hotels, and we'll be letting you know when to book them Sunday night and through the day on Monday. But the best thing you can do for us is to fire them into League Republic, and we'll probably reach out to the game day hosts to request the scorecards at the end of the day. And that would be amazing. Like we say every single week, we can't do it without you guys, without our volunteers, and without everyone that sends everything in. As always, as every year, I'm incredibly grateful that you guys get on board with our little project and help us share all the good news as it happens. Because while we're here chatting into the microphones and making the graphics, it is a community show and it's a community platform. And without you guys, it simply would not work. So we'll end it there for this week. I hope you all have a great weekend. There's 122 flag football matches happening this weekend in the NFFL. I'll be around at least for 36 of them. The rest of them are up to you. So good luck. Play well. I hope the weather is kind, and I hope everybody stays healthy. That's been my monologue. My name is Bez, and that is the way I HNC it.